invite Dr. Galib Sir, Additional Professor, Department of RSBK, AIIA, New Delhi, on the dais. Sir will be illuminating us with the concepts of fundamental and drug research. Professor Dr. Vibin KB Sir, HOD Department of RSBK, will be the chairperson, and co-chairperson Dr. Soumya Ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Kayachikitsa. I request Dr. Vibin KB Sir to kindly present the floral welcome to our eminent speaker. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to invite Dr. Andrews Ma'am, Associate Professor at Department of Kayachikitsa, GJ Patel Institute of Ayurvedic Studies and Research to...
I am respected Chairman, distinguished judge and dear participants. It is my immense privilege to introduce our esteemed guest, Dr. Galib Sir, MD, PhD, presently serving as Additional Professor in the Department of Rashastra by Kalpana at the All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi. Sir is a distinguished academician and researcher with nearly 19 years of teaching experience, around 200 publications and significant contribution to Ayurveda education and research. And Sir has also served with CCRAS, ITRA and the WHO collaboration centers. Galib Sir has received prestigious honors including the Young Scientist Award and Sheikh Zayed International Award and has represented India internationally. We are honored to have him with us today. I am warmly welcome Dr. Galib Sir and invite him with address the gathering.
Premier awards for Ayurveda in the country at this scenario. So she is one of the, I feel she is the youngest one. I don't know, okay, so I don't have that data, but I'm happy to see her in young age, okay, so she got that award, so which is one important landmark in that CV of Dr. Bhavna Kaushikji. So we must applaud her for that tremendous contribution to the science. I'm happy even to see Dr. Mandipji, who is my co-worker at Jamnagar, and she is a co-speaker here on this platform. And Nilakantji is here, and I'm meeting him for the first time. And all those participants for taking out some time and sitting over here. So let us see, okay, so how we can move ahead, okay, so in this session. So I'm not going to bore you, I feel so. Let us see, because Mandipji, she spoke something about clinical trials, and we are coming back to preclinical, and then I feel, okay, so Bhavana Madam also, so she may be talking something about fundamentals. So we are going in a, okay, a reverse pharmacological way, right? So from clinical to preclinical to fundamental. So that is what, okay, so what exactly, so in these traditional systems of, not only for Ayurvedic systems, but for traditional systems, such kind of fine research methodologies are, okay, so very much applicable at this moment, I feel so. So with that, yes, rightly mentioned that, okay, so today is Vasanta Panchami. I also would like to congratulate you on that specific auspicious occasion of Vasanta Panchami. Besides Vasanta Panchami, so today is birthday of one national leader. How many of you know it? I'm not sure, but can someone? Pardon? Subhash Chandra Bose. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, so today is the birthday of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Okay, so remembering him, okay, so on this occasion of Agnivesha Sambhasha, so we'll move ahead. So somebody can please give me the slide changer, if it is possible. I prefer to have that slide changer with me. Is it possible? You are going to do it. Okay, fine. So you can go to the next slide. Next, please. Fine. So I will be precisely, so please let me know whenever you feel that, right, I need to stop it, so you can tell me, right, so don't feel that it's an expert lecture. So just I'm interacting with you, I'm not going to say anything extra otherwise, okay, so I'm not going to tell you what is the methodology, how to do pharmacology, how to do preclinical studies, how to do all those things, okay, so I'm not going to speak anything about that, but I would like to say that, okay, so where we are standing, okay, what exactly is needed, what the, right, the scientific scenario is trying to look towards you, okay, so why they are looking towards you, why traditional systems, fine, what is your role, okay, as a PG scholar, how you can contribute to the system, okay, so these things we will see, of course, okay, so I limit myself to only the preclinical publications, okay, so that are very much there in the open domain, fine, so I won't speak more than that, okay, so I will say something about, okay, so what exactly is this, and why that, okay, so specific demand, and so they asked me to speak something about quality, safety, toxicology. Again, okay, so as rightly mentioned by Mandip madam, that it's a huge topic. Okay, so within given that frame of 45 minutes to 1 hour, it is not possible. It is not possible to cover, okay, so all those areas. But so just as a passing references, just like a tips of the icebergs. Okay, so just we will pass it on, and then we'll see. And then I'll be happy enough if at all you are coming back and asking something, so which is related to my area. So we'll try to address it. And I'll be happy, I'll be more happy if at all I'm unable to address anything, right? I'll be right. So as I said, okay, so I'll be more happy. So if at all you are coming out with some questions for which I don't have answers, so I'll go back, I'll read something, so I will be enriching myself. So please give me that opportunity. I will say something about some guidelines, few of the guidelines. Okay, so already the earlier speaker, okay, so she has spoken something about that, and then some of the studies, okay, so which have tried to establish safety aspects of, efficacy aspects of traditional formulations. That I will speak something. So next please. See, this is the latest scenario, so which is available there on the website of WHO. You can go to, okay, so I have given that link, okay, so I'll leave this presentation here, okay, so somebody is interested, you suppose they can see it, and so they can try to cross-verify it. So that is the latest information which is available there on that website of World Health Organization. So it is updated by 2021 it is. Okay, so what they are saying is, you can see that, okay, so what are the leading causes of death when we are considering Indian scenario. Fine, Indian scenario, so just COVID ko chhod dijiye, uske baad, okay, so you can see it. Okay, so COVID, of course, it has came into our lives in 2019, I feel, 19 and 20, so then there are certain other issues, but leave that, communicable disease. After that, okay, so you can see how many diseases. So you can see from ischemic, okay, so heart diseases to the, okay, so diabetes mellitus, otherwise, okay, hepatic ailments and diarrheal and all those things. So the thing is, so why I'm putting this one is, next please. Okay, so do we, okay, so not only the traditional system of medicine, so what kind of treatment strategies we have to manage, right? What kind of treatment approaches we have, whatever it may be. So it's I'm not limiting only to TM, okay, so traditional medicine, but okay, so in general, okay, right, so if at all we are thinking, you suppose, let it be whatever, okay, so healthcare system, if it is, you suppose what kind of treatment strategies we have. Can we treat diabetes? Can we treat hypertension? Can we treat, right, cirrhosis? Can we treat obesity? Can we treat infertility? Can we treat whatever it may be, the n number of disease conditions, okay, so right, can we treat it? Can we manage it? Whatever it may be, right, it may be traditional or by using the conventional or by using Siddha or homeopathy or whatever. Can we treat? I'm not saying about management, okay, so I'm asking about the treatment. Fine, can we do that? So we have certain limitations, okay, so we can go back to the next slide. Fine, so you can see that, okay, so this communication, it says that. So it says that, okay, so there are many limitations. There are many limitations in the conventional system of medicine. When we are looking into the conventional system of medicine, fine, okay, so this says that there are a huge amount of limitations are there. Okay, so they are compromising with the quality of life of the patient, fine. Okay, so adverse drug reactions, each and every molecule, conventional molecule, otherwise isolated molecule are, right, so those principles, okay, so they are associated with some sort of adverse drug reactions, some sort of adversities, fine, okay. So for non-communicable diseases, there are no 100% cure, fine. So they may be managing the system for some time, and after that, okay, so it may be leading to the further stages, further complications, Fine, so that is one limitation. And drug resistance, antimicrobial resistance, and drug dependency. Fine, so these are the limitations. Fine, so potential iatrogenic harm. Fine, so these are certain limitations which are associated with the conventional system of medicines, which is well understood by the global healthcare communities. That is the possible reason why, okay, so the healthcare societies, they are coming towards the traditional systems of medicines to see that whether, okay, so these traditional systems can contribute to healthcare system, right? Whether these traditional systems of, okay, so medicines can manage in a significant way, right? In, okay, so as few examples, okay, so what Mandeep madam was, okay, so she was mentioning about, okay, so how to manage, right? So when whether Ayurveda can provide satisfactory treatment approaches for the COPD, whether it can manage it or not, okay, so whether it can manage diabetes or not, whether it can manage, okay, so all those pathological entities where there is no significant, right, treatment approaches in conventional system, okay, right? So that is the reason, okay, so why the people, they are coming towards the traditional systems. Next, please. Fine, so you can see that snapshot, right? Of course, it belongs to 2018. We are in 2026 now, but there is the latest document which is available on the website of WHO. Okay, so you can see that, okay, so how much the snapshot of the cross section of the globe, if at all you are looking, you suppose, right? Maximum countries, okay, so they are occupied, okay, so they have been shown in green. Green indicates that, you can see that green indicates that yes, they have some sort of policies they have for traditional systems of medicine. That means majority of the countries, okay, so they have some policies for traditional systems. Whether it is legalized or not, that's a different, right, point of discussion. That's a different thing. But okay, so they have some sort of traditional systems in their, right, respective national, fine, healthcare societies, and they have been accepted in those countries. So it indicates that yes, okay, so each and every country, okay, so they have their own policies, they have their own, okay, so systems, they have their own, right, approaches to manage disease in their, right, system. So this is the latest one, of course, okay, so the previous slide, it belongs to 2018, but so this belongs to 2024, okay, so this is copied from, okay, so the one of the presentation of WHO chief, not chief as such, okay, so for TM chief, Dr. Kim. He was presenting it in IRCH meeting in August 2025. Okay, so from that, okay, so I have copied this. Okay, so this is the third WHO Global Survey on Traditional Medicine 2024. Find where, okay, so you can see that how many member states out of 194 member states of right, UN, United Nations, how many, right, member states have, okay, so these research institutes for traditional systems exclusively. Out of 194, okay, so 57 research, 57 fine member states. Fine. Similarly, okay, so essential health service packages, okay, so it is in how many countries, PCM practice guidelines, how many countries they have developed. Fine. So these digits, okay, so they indicates that gradually, so if at all we are looking, if at all we are comparing from 2018 to 2023, 2024, okay, so he said that, okay, yes, the demand is, the global pendulum is drastically moving towards traditional systems of medicines because of all those reasons, okay, so which have been mentioned. Fine. So when it comes to the Indian scenario, everyone knows it very well, so I need not to explain what exactly it is. Okay, so what for what? Okay, so this Ayush stands for. Fine. So everyone knows it very well, and this acronym, it stands for all those. And India is one country, one beautiful country, so which is enjoying that medical pluralism. Fine. So in many countries, if at all you are going, you suppose, so these traditional systems are not legalized, but we are enjoying. Okay, so we are enjoying that legality. Fine. So India is, that's why I say that. Okay, so India is the, I feel, okay, so one of the few countries, okay, so in these 194, okay, so which is enjoying that pluralism, right? Ayurveda is legal, right? Yoga is legal, Siddha is legal, homeopathy is legal, Unani is legal, fine. Naturopathy is legal, conventional system is also legal. So all those medical systems, they are running parallelly. So such kind of system, okay, so you cannot, I never noticed, okay, so such kind of medical pluralism in any country, right? So this is one beautiful unique feature of, okay, so this country, I feel. Fine. So that is where, okay, so when we say that yes, demand is increasing, when we are okay, so in a scenario of Indian scenario, so when we say that for Ayush, okay, so demand is increasing, so what is the, right, so you can see that, okay, so how we can say that demand is increasing, so you can see that, okay, so what are the developments You may be knowing, okay, so I have given, okay, so that link where this has been published. Fine. So the demand is increasing, so you can see that, okay, yeah, so Man Ki Baat, 129 episodes as of December 2025. Honorable Prime Minister, okay, so he addresses the nation, right? So everyone knows it very well. So the 129 episodes since 2014. So at least, okay, so 37 times, okay, so he has referred for traditional systems of medicine. It comes almost towards 30%, right? So 30% of his speeches, okay, so if they focus upon traditional systems, or इससे ज़्यादा push out क्या चाहिए आपको, right? So just to say that, yes, okay, so demand is there. At the same time, administrative support is also there. Fine. PM himself, okay, so he want that, okay, so traditional systems are supposed to be uplifted, and they are supporting. Government is also supporting. So government is supporting, okay, so that's why, okay, so this much of developments, right? So there are, okay, so what I can say, the collaborative work with the Ministry of Medical Sciences. There are many clinical trials, okay, so as rightly mentioned, okay, so Mandip ji mentioned, but okay, so when at core level if at all you are coming, you suppose, okay, so top level if at all you are coming, you suppose, okay, so we can see that AIIMS Nagpur is working, AIIMS Rishikesh is working, AIIMS Jodhpur is, AIIMS Delhi is, okay, so they have already initiated various clinical trials with right, the Ayurveda system of medicine. You can see ICMR, this research in integrative medicine, what add-on effect, okay, so what Mandip ji was mentioning, fine. So research in integrative medicine, so if at all you want to suppose, okay, so what kind of policy is supposed to be? How we can join hands together with the conventional system of medicine. Fine. So policy is already, okay, so it is there. The only thing is, okay, so you should showcase that, okay, so when this traditional system of medicine is added with that conventional molecule, okay, so you have to showcase that these two, when we are using concomitantly, they are not going to lead to any sort of herb-drug interactions. So that data you have to show it, okay, so this is what that policy says. So at least 3 times, okay, so they have mentioned about the possibility of herb-drug interactions. So if at all Nishamlaki is added with metformin, okay, so whether these two, okay, are so interacting with each other to nullify the activity of each other, or okay, so they are right working in a synergistic manner. So that data is supposed to be provided, okay, so this is what that policy says. Of course, okay, so there are, okay, so all these instances, okay, so they speak about the increasing demands about the traditional systems, of course, okay, so there are many, okay, 2030, that UK roadmap, if at all you are looking, suppose, okay, so India UK roadmap, they want to find, you can see that agenda point number 32, Ayurveda and alternative medicine, so they want to implement the Ayurvedic system of medicine in the, okay, so scenario of UK. So these are some of the, right, and then so depending upon that, okay, so that scenario, depending upon that growing demand towards the traditional towards the traditional systems, okay, so huge amount of research, okay, so it has been focused upon the herbs, herbal formulations, phytopharmaceuticals, herbal products, traditional systems, let it be, okay, so Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy, okay, so right, so many people, okay, so people from, not only from the traditional systems, not only from the Ayush ministry, but okay, so people from ethnobotany, people from pharmacognosy, people from molecular biology, biochemistry, microbiology, pharmacology, everyone, okay, so they started to tap the potential, okay, so whether these traditional systems have that potential to cure or provide certain leads to, right, to address at least to the existing healthcare issues or pathologies, okay, so that is going on at this moment. And that is the reason why, okay, so that is the outcome why, okay, so these are the molecules, they have been entered into the phytopharmaceutical sector. I am not saying that, okay, so this phytopharmaceutical sector, otherwise, okay, so such kind of research is going to enrich the traditional system of medicine. That's a different thing, but okay, so herbals are being tapped. Okay, so that is one important point, okay, so which, okay, so you need to at least understand. So, of course, okay, so as I said, yes, demand is there. Fine, yes, people, they are coming towards the traditional systems. Researchers, okay, so they have a focus upon the traditional systems of medicines. Yes, okay, so it is well understood. But do you feel that, okay, so whether this, I mean, quality, safety, efficacy, and toxicity, okay, so the topic which has been given to me, fine. Do you feel that classics, let it be Charaka Samhita, or let it be Sushruta, or let it be Vagbhata, okay, so whether they have spoken or whether they have considered about, okay, so these areas, or okay, so simply, okay, so we are, okay, right, overwhelmed, and so we are focusing upon, okay, so these areas, right, because conventional system of medicine is there, ICMR is developing monographs and protocols, So इसलिए हमें भी करना है. Is it so? Right? So you can see that, okay, so right, so there are many, right, so this is one verse, okay, so which I mean frequently prefers to, right, at least quote it, okay, so wherever it is needed. So you can see that, okay, so this is one entire, right, one version, one shloka, so which speaks and, okay, so right, I mean all the areas related to the drug development. Fine, I used to ask, okay, so my students to tell, okay, so from where this shloka came. Fine. So if somebody is there, okay, so you can, I'm not putting that reference here, okay, so you can come out, okay, right, so I will in my last slide, okay, so I will be sharing my WhatsApp number, okay, so you can come back and you can tell that, okay, so from where this verse is. Fine, you can see that, okay, right, so this, I'm not going to explain all those, okay, lines, but the thing is, you can see that, okay, so it encompasses everything. It covers everything. It covers all the phases of drug development. It covers all the phases of the clinical trials and everything. But you can see that, right? So it is starting from fine good agricultural practices to storage practices to good manufacturing practices, laboratory practices, clinical practices, and OECD guidelines and CDSCO guidelines, right? Everything it is there. Okay, so in one shloka. Fine. So you cannot say that, right, so nothing was there in the classical literature. It is there. It is well written, well documented in the classical literature, and it is fine. So you can see that, okay, so drug development phases, if at all you are looking, you suppose, okay, so the same shloka, right, so you can segregate it into 3 different phases. Fine, definitely you can see that, okay, so how that scientific definition of that specific molecule, of that specific formulation, okay, so which you are working upon, okay, so what are those areas which are supposed to be covered, and then how you will identify and how you generate that proof of identity and purity of that specific, okay, interventional drug, otherwise, okay, so that molecule that you are working upon, and how that content check will be done. These 3 are nothing but the phases which are, okay, so related in, otherwise, okay, so spoken in the area of that drug development. How a product is supposed to be developed, how that new chemical entity is supposed to be addressed, okay, so what are those areas which are supposed to be considered. So nothing, okay, so ये एक श्लोक अगर आप पढ़ लेते हैं तो entire drug development, okay, so you need not to think that, okay, so ICMR ने क्या कहा और CDSCO ने क्या कहा, OECD क्या कहता है. Everything is there, okay, so in that one version, one specific verse of around 8 lines, that is more than enough. That is more than enough. एक श्लोक पढ़ लीजिए, आपका पूरा रसशास्त्र, वैशिष्ट्य, द्रव्यगुण, कायचिकित्सा सब हो जाएंगे. Fine. So it's a beautiful shloka. So you can have a copy of that. So when it comes to, right, so you spoke about quality, you spoke about safety, you spoke about, right, efficacy, toxicity, and all those things, right. So this is one document which at least, okay, so the PG scholars, okay, so you must have it at least, okay, so in your library, let it be maybe digital library or whatever. Fine. So you can have, this is freely available document. Of course 2018 में release हुआ था, but very good document. Fine. So they are speaking something about, okay, so good herbal processing practices, how the herbs, how the formulations, okay, particularly they are speaking about herbs, okay, so of course metals or minerals के बारे में बात नहीं हुआ था. So of course initiation, it was way back in 2010, okay, so it was started in 2018. It took 8 years to complete this document. So of course it is there on open domain, so you can download it. So they spoke something about, okay, so how the herbs are supposed to be processed. A very good document at least, okay, so for the Rasabhaishajya Dravaguna people, so you have to download it and you have to see. What they're saying is, you can see that, okay, so what do you mean by that processing, that kalpana, whatever you're doing, right? Fine. What is that specific processing? Okay, so how we can understand it? Okay, so this is what they're saying. Okay, so processing refers to a unique procedure. It's a unique procedure. Why they are saying it as a unique procedure is because if it is vacha, fine, that procedure is different. If it is ashwagandha, the procedure is different. If it is mentha, the procedure is different. Fine. If it is vatsanabha, the procedure is different. So to formulation, herb to herb, ingredient to ingredient, the procedures will change. So in somewhere, okay, so it may be toya sanikarsha, in somewhere it may be agni sanikarsha, it may somewhere, okay, so it may be something different. Fine. So the procedures, okay, so which are supposed to be followed, okay, so in each and every case, okay, so they are different. They are case sensitive, they are herb sensitive, right? So one procedure cannot be applicable, one procedure cannot be adopted in each and every case. Fine. So that's why, okay, so they says it's a unique procedure, and of preparing herbal material and herbal preparations for therapeutic applications. Why we need to do it? क्यों करना है? Why the processing is supposed to be? Right? करने को क्या जरूरी है? Fine. So it is for the therapeutic application, and if at all the processing is not done, you suppose, so it may lead to some sort of inconvenience, and that inconvenience may be adversity, or that inconvenience may be toxicity, or it may be adverse drug reaction, whatever. To avoid, okay, so those inconveniences, okay, so they say that, okay, so these herbs, they are supposed to be processed. Fine. And they are saying the same thing, but also their safety and efficacy in clinical settings. Okay, so if at all you want to reduce, you suppose, okay, so that is very much essential, and it is nothing but so kalpana, and so it has been, okay, so you can go back and you can read, okay, so the versions of Chakrabarni, you can read what Arunadatta said, you can see what Jejata is saying. When kalpana is, okay, so being defined, how, okay, so these kalpanas are defined, okay, so kalpana, okay, so they are saying it is why it is. So it is that kalpana is for sharire prayogartham, so that kalpana is for therapeutic applications. Right? Very beautifully, okay, so it has been mentioned in our classical literature, the same thing it is being reflected in the global document. It is the same, fine. So you can see what is that primary processing and what is that secondary processing, what is that tertiary processing. Fine. Samanya Shodhana, Vishesh Shodhana. So you might have read it, okay, so in your undergraduation का शास्त्र जब भी पढ़ रहे होंगे आपने पढ़ा होगा आपने, right? So the same thing what they are saying over here. Primarily what you need to do after that primary processing, okay, so secondary, okay, so how you need to do it. After the secondary, okay, so how you need to go for that tertiary processing. Fine. So the same description it is, and then okay, so they says that fine, it is intended to free, okay, from the foreign matters, manual impurities अगर आपके कुछ है, okay, so those manual impurities or physical, okay, so impurities, so they are supposed to be removed, you suppose, okay, so they are considering it under, okay, so this primary processing, and then, okay, so secondary processing, and then special processing. Special processing, okay, you can see, okay, so the example which has been given here, it is for the Vishadravyas, schedule even drugs, fine, okay, Arkakshiram, Snuhikshiram, Langalikaravira, right, so there are, okay, so certain Upavishas, right, so there are certain Vishas, so these Vishas and Upavishas, they are supposed to be processed, is it so? So they are supposed to be processed, and then only they are supposed to be applied in therapeutics. If at all you are not processing, what happens? So it may create some sort of inconvenience. This is what they are saying, it is special processing is needed. Fine. So they have given one, okay, so up to 3 examples they have given. So Aconitum, Vatsanaga, how it is supposed to be processed. So which has been given, explained in your classical literature. Now, okay, so they are referring it back. Okay, so that global document, okay, so they are referring it over here. Fine. Snuhikshira, okay, so euphorbia, how it is supposed to be processed. Fine. So just I am putting this in front of you because, okay, so you must know it that, okay, so which kind of document is available at which corner of the right. Okay, fine. It contains everything. Fine, it is too smart, it is. Is it so? It's a smartphone. It is too smart. It is smarter than you. It is smarter than me. I was not knowing that, okay, how to reach, okay, so this Vallabh Nagar. So this has brought me. मुझे पता नहीं otherwise, okay, so right. So it is smarter than me, so it guides me. So if this mobile is not there, so you cannot survive. I don't know, okay, so how many of you are hearing to this lecture and how many of you are, okay, so diverted into that. How many of you are searching for that specific document, okay, so which is being focused over there. है ना, ऑर्गेनाइजर्स खाना नहीं दिया तो चलेगा लेकिन मोबाइल को अलो कर दो अंदर, है ना, यही होता है. So the scenario is like that, okay. I'm not saying that don't use the phone, right? So it cannot be. आज के दिन में it cannot be, right? So if phone is not there, you suppose we cannot survive. It is smarter. So in the phone, okay, so everything is there. So you can download it and you can read it. So at least, okay, so there are 100+ students. So if you have at least 10-20 लोग भी अगर उसको डाउनलोड कर लें और एक बार पढ़ें, particularly I don't know, okay, so Kayachikitsa के students ज़्यादा होंगे, but so you can pass it on to your friends, whomsoever they are, okay, so in Draviguna, whomsoever they are in the Shastra, so you can pass it on to them, ask them to read it, right? Ask them to enrich themselves, and if at all they are unable to download it, so just you can send me a text, not unable to download it, please send me. I do that. Fine, it is easy. So it's an open document. So this is one important document which you need it. Okay, so you need to at least, okay, read it at least. एक बार पढ़ेंगे, दूसरी बार पढ़ेंगे तो समझ में आ जाएगा what they are trying to say. And then you can say that yes, okay, so it is there in my classical literature. आनंद कंद ने बोला है. Fine, it is there in Siddhavishya Manimal. It is there in Rasahridaya Tantram. Okay, so which belongs to 5th century, 6th century, or 7th century. Now in 2020, I mean 2025, 2024, okay, so they are treating it. Fine, okay. So these are, okay, the things, okay, so which you need to at least, okay, understand, okay, so why that processing is very much essential. Fine, when it comes to safety, when it comes to quality, when it comes to standards, okay, so why they are supposed to be done, okay, so मुझे गुंजा का शोधन कैसे करना है बोलने का ज़रूरी नहीं है, everyone knows it very well. Fine, so what happens if at all it is boiled, okay, so in fine in presence of milk or cow urine or whatever, okay, so how that aberrant concentration will come down, that everything everyone knows it very well. अगर आप Google में जाए तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. Fine, so this document is very much essential. So you can see that. Fine, neutralization of toxicity and diminishing side effects. So that is the main reason why also that shodhana is supposed to be done. Right? Why that shodhana is supposed to be done. So classical literature also says the same. Fine, aconitum. Okay, so how that active molecules percentage, okay, so it will come down. Okay, so this is what they are saying. So processing techniques and procedures, okay, so they depend upon the individual materials. For example, Estimadhu. Fine. Okay, so you're from Kayachikitsa, a few of you may be from Panchakarma. Fine. Estimadhu Fanta. For example, Estimadhu Fanta, where it is to be administered. Is it for Amla Pitta? Estimadhu Dhrita. Is it for Vamanopaga? No, it's vice versa, right? Estimadhu Hima, I mean Estimadhu Fanta. Okay, so you use it for Vamanopagas to induce emesis, fine. But Estimadhu Dhrita is for Amla Pitta. So the ingredient is same, fine. It is only it is the same ingredient. It is Glycerisa glabra. But okay, so what you are doing is, okay, so the technique, the procedure, okay, so for what sake you are using that specific material, fine. Ingredient is the same. But if at all you are using for inducing the emesis, okay, so you are doing Fanta. But if at all you are using it therapeutics in case of acid-peptic diseases, okay, so you are converting it into Dhrita. Fine. Okay, so it depends. Okay, so what kind of procedure is supposed to be done? That tertiary procedure. Okay, so what kind of procedure is supposed to be done? Whether it is again, okay, so only right Toya Sanikarsha or Toyagni Sanikarsha. Fine. In case of Dhrita Kalpana, it is Toyagni Sanikarsha, and in case of, okay, so only Fanta, so it may be, I can say that it's a simple Toya Sanikarsha. Fine. So depending upon that Sanikarsha, okay, so the outcomes are coming out. Dhrita may not be useful for Vamanopaga, and Fanta may not be useful to, right, pacify the pathological condition of that APD. Fine. Okay, so that's why, okay, so processing techniques and procedures, they depends upon, okay, upon your requirement. What is your requirement? Okay, so for what sake you are doing it? Fine, it depends upon that. So that you need to, okay, so at least understand it. These protocols should also comply with the regulatory requirements. Okay, so whatever it may be the protocol that you are developing out of, okay, so your experiences, those protocols, okay, so they are supposed to, okay, comply with the regulatory requirements which are existing in that specific scenario. So this is very much essential. Fine. Okay, so one example, okay, so right, so of course, okay, so all such kind of examples, they are beautifully narrated in the classical literature. This is from, I feel, so this is from Charaka Samhita, Charaka Vimana, तो आप देखे होंगे ना? Fine, पढ़ा होगा, Charaka Vimana 7th chapter का नाम? Don't know, fine, not needed as such here, but the thing is, okay, so similar kind of procedures or SOPs, standards, okay, so they have been given, okay, so in the literature for every pharmaceutical dosage form. So this is of course from for Taila Kalpana, fine. So for Taila Kalpana, what is the SOP? Fine. You need not to see the modern pharmaceutical. You can see it definitely, okay, so you can see, you can refer it. But the thing is, okay, so you should know that yes, similar kind of SOPs, they have been mentioned in my literature. Fine, you should know that. Okay, so after that, okay, so you can compare it with otherwise, okay, so you can have that knowledge of right, similar kind of technology, similar kind of SOPs in pharmaceutical technology. So you can see that, okay, so what are those operative guidelines? Fine, you can see that, okay, so what are those endpoints which are supposed to be considered while doing that specific dosage form, right? And then, okay, so what kind of care is supposed to be taken after manufacturing that specific, how to store it, what kind of precautions we need to take it. Fine. Okay, so this has been lucidly mentioned in the classical literature, and this is from Moonlove. right? Charaka Samhita. You can see Chakrapani's version, right? I didn't mention, okay, so otherwise I'm not quoting, okay, so what Chakrapani said it over there, but it is beautiful. 11th century Chakrapani soldier, you can read it. Charaka's time period, I don't know, okay, so what is that period? How many years back, okay, so he wrote it, okay, so that's a different debate, okay, so, but we need not to enter into that debate, but the thing is, it is beauty. It is excellent, it is par excellence. भाई 5000 साल पहले उनको कैसे पता था कि प्री ऑपरेटिव, ऑपरेटिव, पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव प्रिकॉशंस भी लेना चाहिए. Okay, so whenever, okay, so pharmaceutical dosage forms are being prepared. Fine, it is above, okay, I can't imagine it, how they have, what kind of visionary, okay, right, so those people they have it. We are nothing in front of them. एक भी protocol हमने develop नहीं कर पाया आज तक. Fine, but okay, so you can see that how many protocols they have, not only with the pharmaceuticals, but okay, so as rightly mentioned by Amandeep madam, okay, so clinical protocols, how many, SOPs, how many, okay, so enormous information it is available. So these regulations, okay, so it is, okay, so when it comes to the subject of Kayachikitsa, you must know it, okay, so you download कर लीजिए, आप ये पढ़ लीजिए, okay, so it is of course old one, it is 158B, it is a old document. You should know that, okay, so where preclinical is needed, where quality standards are needed, okay, so what kind of protocols are supposed to be, where clinical evidences are needed if at all you want to market a new molecule, suppose, okay, so this is one, it's not a new rule, but okay, rule 159B, okay, so of Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940 is a old rule. You at least must have that understanding. And 150, okay, so 8B के अंदर कितने subdivisions, okay, so at least, okay, so these 5 subdivisions are there, okay, right? For a classical, for a PNP, for a cosmetics, and for nutraceuticals, for right extracts, there are separate set of code of conduct. SOPs are available here. SOP in the sense, okay, regulations are something different, and a very small table it is. Fine. If you are interested, you suppose, okay, so table आप निकाल के पेस्ट कर दीजिए दीवार पे, आते जाते देखते रहिए तो पता चलेगा. Additional information, so if it is a new molecule, suppose as rightly mentioned by earlier speaker, what is supposed to be complied, and if at all you have that in, okay, so intention of making it into a commercialized product. Fine. So this is one which you must read, and this is the latest one. I can't say it's the latest one, okay, so 5 साल तो हो ही गया, 2019. Fine. So 2019 guidelines, okay, so you must, right, 158B चला गया, right, GCP चला गया, ICMR के guidelines है 2016 or 17, I feel, okay, so that was the latest edition which is available on ICMR's website, but CEDESCO's guidelines of 2019, okay, so this is what you must have an understanding. Clinical trials अगर आप कर रहे हैं, right, let it be whatever it is, it may be pragmatic, it may be RCT, it may be case series, it may be observational study, whatever. Fine. So ये studies करते समय, what are those basic, right, code of conduct which has to be complied by a researcher? क्योंकि कल के दिन में, okay, so आपके guide, आपके teacher, आपके principal, आपके director आपके पीछे नहीं आएंगे, right? You are responsible for your study. Fine, you are responsible for your study. So बाहर society में, if at all you want to stand, you suppose, okay, so you should have that background of information कि what is lacking in my clinical trial. 3 साल हो गया, डिग्री तो मिल गया, but okay, so where I am lacking, so that lacuna I should know it, I should accept it, कि हाँ, कहीं भी आप इंटरव्यू में जाते हैं तो पूछ सकते हैं कि भाई it has been not done, तो आपको फिर blank face नहीं होना चाहिए. You should know that, okay, yes, okay, so this is lacking in my, okay, entity, and I should accept it. And in a future studies आप अपने students को फिर guide करेंगे तो वहाँ पे एक problem, एक difficulty नहीं आना चाहिए. Fine. Okay, so that's why, okay, so we say that you people are the building blocks tomorrow, okay, right? So you are, I mean, enriching, okay, so the future generation. Fine. You must know that, okay, so what exactly is the system is taking care of. Otherwise, okay, so what kind of new rules and new regulations are coming into the system, which are applicable to, okay, so my healthcare scenario. You must know it. Okay, so this is one. Okay, so you must know it. You must read it. You must understand it. ऐसा नहीं कि उसको अप्लाई करना है. अप्लाई कर सकते हैं कि नहीं वो भी आप हमें पता होना जरूरी है, right? So these are the things. Okay, so this is an open domain. Okay, so these are some of the guidelines again. Okay, so they are an open domain. आपका digital library में ये सब download करके रख लीजिए, पढ़िए, try to, okay, so read it. Okay, so this is first one is CSIR's guidelines on ethics is very much important. Ethics जब भी आता है तो ICMR और ये सभी हम पढ़ते हैं, but read that CSIR's, okay, so document, okay, so it is on guidelines for ethics, okay, so this is very much essential. वो पढ़ने के बाद बाकी आप पढ़िए, फाइन, एटलीस्ट आप इंडेक्स तो देखिए ओपन करके, ओके फाइन. So see that, okay, so ICMR and ICMR's documents and DBT, okay, so it has, of course, for a specific population, okay, so they have specific guidelines, and fine, 2019 guidelines, okay, so that I have mentioned, and so there are many standards, okay, so there are many code of conducts for each and every step of, okay, so research, okay, so let it be Drugs and Cosmetics Act, or let it be NABHO, NABLO, right? So Bureau of Indian Standards, I don't know, right? See, you are the professional strength of the country, right? Whenever Ayush comes, okay, right? So you are the inseparable part. अब बाहर नहीं है. Also you are within that Ministry of Ayush. You are within that ambit of, right? So circle के अंदर ही है. So then, okay, so how you can contribute to the ministry? Fine. How you can contribute to the science? How you can contribute to the Ayush system? Alright, by sitting here, okay, so in this auditorium, how you can contribute? आपको मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष में जाने का जरूरी नहीं है, दिल्ली में बैठने का आपको इनविटेशन मिलने का भी जरूरी नहीं है. So you can sit, okay, so in your OPD and you can do that. Fine. So you should know that, okay, so where you can contribute. That is right. There is a way, okay, so how you can enrich yourselves. That is the way how you can contribute to the system. That is the way how you can showcase that, yes, okay, so in that corner of Vallabh Vidya Nagar I am there. That is the thing which we need. Why I am telling this is, okay, so for example, whatever it may be the gazette, okay, so which comes into force, fine, वो gazette जो force in the sense application होने से पहले, publish होने से पहले, right, these gazettes will be open. Do you know it or not? These gazettes will be open on the websites at least for 1 महीना 2 महीना, right? They keep it open in the sense they will invite comments from you people. Fine. हो सकता है कि मैंने गजेट बना दिया, for example, गलती भी हो सकता है, right? तो गलती कौन सुधारेगा? कल के दिन में तो आप ही बोलेंगे ना कि उन्होंने गलती किया है. You will say that. So that is the reason why, okay, so people, administrators, policy makers, okay, so they used to prepare the draft. The draft will be kept open on the websites, inviting comments from the stakeholders. You are the stakeholders. Bureau of Indian Standards. Okay, why don't you go to that website of Bureau of Indian Standards and see it? Do you know, okay, so how many documents are pending now? Okay, so how many documents are waiting, okay, for the comments from the stakeholders like you? आप छोटे बच्चे नहीं हैं, okay, so you are professionals, you are doctors, you can contribute. Why don't you comment? Fine. People they are looking, right? People in the sense Ministry of Ayush, Bureau of Indian Standards, so 200 documents, okay, so they are on their website. Fine. Okay, so you can select, okay, so which is the document which is going to be lapsed by the end of January, by the end of February, by the end of March. You can see it, you can contribute it. This is what I am saying. Contribute it. People, okay, again, okay, so I will repeat it. Don't say that, okay, so it is a punarukti dosha, right? If at one point is, okay, so being repeated a couple of times, you suppose, okay, so it may be right. So Charutar rightly said that it is punarukti dosha, but I say that, okay, so it has some importance. इसलिए मैं बार-बार कह रहा हूँ, right? So you may not be, आप सब लोग जो है शायद हनुमान जी जैसे होंगे. You don't know, okay, so what kind of potential that you have. Fine, you can contribute. Come forward. Fine, let it be Pharmacopeal Commission, let it be right ICMR, let it be Bureau of Indian Standards, let it be, okay, so there are many. You can go to Gazette of India, government, okay, Gazette of India's website, you can go and you can see, okay, how many gazettes are getting released, okay, so at a frequency of a month. Why don't you contribute? Contribute to those gazettes, those, okay, so technical documents which are related to our system of medicine at least. You can do that, right? You can do that. So अब सब लोग, that's what I said, okay, so अब सब लोग हनुमान जी हैं तो हनुमान जी को भी याद दिलाना पड़ेगा ना. तो याद दिलाने के लिए हम कभी-कभी आके ऐसे पिंच करते रहेंगे कि भाई जंप करो. You have to do it. Fine, ऊपर मंडूक नहीं. You have to come out. So there are, okay, so as I said, okay, so GSCP is there, GSP, GMP, GLP, GCP. I don't know how many of good practices are there. Many good practices, okay, so just as a few good practices I was mentioning over there, but there are a huge amount of good practices which are existing in the scenario. At least, okay, right, so those good practices, so you should have that collection at least, okay, at least over 23 good practices are with me. I have collected 23 good practices. हो सकता है कि उससे ज़्यादा good practices और हो, maybe, right? So you have to collect them at least. नहीं पढ़ा तो भी at least होना तो चाहिए, right? So there are many guidelines, okay, so even for practitioner, even for the practice, for advertisements, okay, so there are regulations. What is that regulation which takes care of these misleading advertisements? Anyone? Misleading, objectionable statements, right? Using this, right, platform of podium of CBM, if at all I am saying that I can cure cancer, whether it is a misleading claim or whether it is a misleading claim or not? No. Not a misleading claim? Is it so? Yes or no? No. How many say no? How many say yes? Remaining are neutral. They don't want to say anything. Fine. Okay, so if it is there, you suppose, if any, you must know it at least, okay, so because again I said that आप छोटे बच्चे नहीं हैं, you are professionals. You are professionals, all of you, okay, majority of you are right postgraduates, right? हो सकता है कि थोड़े लोग अंडर ग्रेजुएशन में हो या इंटर्नीज हो, but tomorrow, okay, so you are going to become a professional, okay, so you are going to be a part of that professional community. You must know it, okay, so what is that ethical MSR पता होगा आपको, minimum standards required, NCSM के गाइडलाइंस आपने पढ़ा होगा, वहाँ पे भी एथिक्स कमिटी एक है, सुरेश क्या है, सुश्रुत जी जो है, okay, so he is the president of that specific unit. Find what he is saying. If at all you are establishing your clinic, you suppose, okay, so what are the regulations which are imposed on my clinic? You must know it. Okay, उसमें ये भी आता है, what kind of advertisement I can do, how I can promote myself, what are those right misleading statements which I cannot do it. Fine. So what are those? Okay, so right हो सकता है क्योंकि so I may be expecting that, okay, so कोई तो बोलेगा कि MDR है ना, I mean misleading advertisements or Magic Remedies Act, right? Magic Remedies Act is misleading advertisements के लिए, objectionable statements के लिए. Of course, okay, so that is one act, okay, so which you may, I mean, many times, okay, so people they will think upon, okay, right, that specific act, but you may not be knowing that there are more than 9 acts which focuses upon the misleading statements in the existing time. 9 acts are there. If at all मैं बच गया Magic Remedies Act से, तो I can book you on other act which I know. And what kind of legal, okay, so foundations are there, okay, so when I am living in a society, I should know it at least. Fine. So why that basic understanding is 1900, almost 120 साल पहले, फाइन, ऑलमोस्ट 120 साल पहले स्वामी जी ने एक बात कहा था. स्वामी जी विवेकानंद है ना, स्वामी विवेकानंद जी ने यही बात कहा था कि if at all you want that the global scenario have to accept you, you must speak in their language. In their language. Fine. So you must speak in their language. Until and unless if at all you are not speaking in their language, you suppose they can't understand it. Fine. And if at all you want to speak in their language, you should know that, okay, so what is that language? What is that legality? What is that, okay, so what botany says, what microbiology says, what in silico says, what molecular docking is saying, what pharmacology says, what toxicity says. You must know it. Until and unless if at all you are unable, if at all you are not able to understand what is, okay, so where I am standing and what is surrounding, okay, so by me, then it becomes difficult to survive. Okay, so this is what he said in 1900s. So almost 120 years back. So we should know it. Okay, so what are those ethics? Okay, so what are those, okay, so areas? Okay, so we must know it. So these are the guidelines. Okay, so which are right. I don't know. Okay, so how many right? So one earlier speaker also. Okay, so there she was mentioning. Of course. Okay, so you may not be knowing. She is one of the mentor. Okay, so who developed guidelines, Ayurvedic standard treatment guidelines. So what I noticed, okay, so I have around 15, 16, 17 years of experience, works with the PG students, okay, so every year, okay, so synopsis जब भी लिखते हैं, they say that we will develop a protocol. let it be. Okay, whatever it may be the disease entity, it may be diabetes, it may be tamakashwasa, it may be hypertension, it may be whatever it may be the disease. Synopsis में ये बात आता है methodology में कि so we will develop a protocol. I don't know why they will write that. Okay, so that specific thing, because developing a protocol is not possible in that span of 3 years. It is not possible. It will take years together. A standard treatment protocol, if at all you want to develop, suppose आप develop करने के बाद उसका validation करना है, उसका reliability establish करना है, उसके बाद एक pilot protocol, pilot study करना है, उसके बाद okay, right? So there are many more. Okay, so other fine steps. Why don't you use okay, so the standard treatment protocols which are already available? CCRS ने कुछ काम किया, 20 protocol okay, so उनकी website पे पड़े हैं. RAV मनोज निसारी सर ने okay, so Mandip madam is a part of that specific activity. Okay, so around 20 protocols. Okay, so they have developed. So 35 protocols they are already available. Why don't you use it? Why? Okay, so they have developed it. What was the motto behind okay, so developing those protocols? Okay, so those protocols they have been developed thinking that okay, so at least okay, so people across the country if at all they are using okay, so at least at the end of couple of years standard set of information will come out which can speak something about the safety aspect, efficacy aspect, toxicity aspect, otherwise okay, so various aspects of that specific given intervention in that specific disease entity. Okay, so this was the motto. But okay, majority of okay, so 2012, 2013, okay, so first version जब आया था almost 13 years. After 13 years of that exercise, many of the people they doesn't know that there are set of protocols for a clinical research. You must know it. Fine. So you have to use okay, so those protocols. Fine. So that is one thing. Okay, so what adversities? Okay, so whatever Madam was mentioned. Okay, so just fine. So when it comes because safety was okay, so one point which has been mentioned mentioned in that topic. Okay, so basically we feel that okay, so whatever it is coming, haldi safe hai, ashwagandha safe hai, right? Guduchi safe hai. Is it so? Right? Triphala safe hai. We feel that okay, so whatever it is coming from the nature, whatever it is coming from the green source, whatever it is coming from the right herbal origin. Okay, so you feel that it is safe. Of course, okay, so we can say that safe definitely hoga, but I can't say that okay, so it is free from adversities. I can't say that. It may be safe, okay, so in comparison to conventional system of medicine, okay, so safety ka percentage ज़्यादा होगा definitely, but I can't say that okay, so it is free from adversity. I can't say that because okay, right, so it is a medicine. Let it be Brahmi or Ashwagandha, Katakarohini, कुछ भी हो, it is medicine. It is not a Cadbury Seclace. Okay, it cannot be purchased by okay, so going to shop में जाके लेने वाला नहीं है. It is not a OTC product. It is a medicine. It has to be consumed under the prescription of a qualified Ayush physician. It's a medicine. Fine. So if at all, okay, so you are using it as a OTC product, so then okay, so there may be a possibility. Even okay, so prescription medicine से भी होने का possibility है, but okay, so you should feel that okay, so right, nature is always safe. No, it's not like that. So nature also can create some sort of inconvenience with that information. Okay, so that thing you should. So one of the right JAMA's publication it is okay, so recent publication. So almost 2 months back. Okay, December first week में ये publication आया था. Okay, so this says that okay, you can see that okay, estimated exposure to 6 potentially hepatotoxic botanicals in US adults. What are those 6 botanicals? At least 2. Okay, so you know it very well. At least 2. Okay, so you come across okay, so every day in your everyday practice. हल्दी अभी शायद लंच करवाएंगे तो हल्दी तो रहेगा इसमें. You are consuming haldi so daily on daily basis. Daily, right? You are consuming it, and you are administering to your patients. Ashwagandha. Okay, so they say that okay, so these are the 2 important out of okay, so those 6. Okay, so these are the 2 important herbal supplements. Otherwise, the formulations which can create okay, which can create that specific pathological entity in US adults. Okay, so this is what they are saying. This is what JAMA is saying. Fine. So this is of course okay. So German Federal Institute का एक document okay, so which has been surfaced says that your ashwagandha is okay, so potentially toxic. Okay, so this is what this is. Not only that, of course I don't want to stand on that specific slide. Okay, so गुरुजी के बारे में बहुत सारा आया था. Of course Bhavana madam is there. Okay, so who contributed to the Ministry of Ayush by preparing the technical dossier of Guruji Tinospara. I don't know whether you know it or not. Okay, so you can go back and लंच टाइम में अदरवाइज शाम को एक बार डाउनलोड करने के लिए कोशिश कीजिए गुरुजी का डोसियर. ओके, सो बट दिन रात लगता है. Okay, so you can't imagine dossier बनाना उतना आसान नहीं है. So the efforts of okay, so Dr. Bhavna Prashar, it is commendable again. She has prepared okay, so that dossier, technical dossier. Guruji, okay, so COVID time में Guruji extensively it has been used, and the people they have came back and they says that Guruji से ये practical difficulty होगा. Not only that Guruji, not only that ashwagandha, not only that turmeric, but okay, so there are few more herbs okay, so which have been labeled with toxic nature. One is your Gokshura. Okay, now okay, so ministry is working upon Gokshura, right? And the second one is, you may not be knowing, Tulasi. Okay, so now okay, so people okay, so they have already so those communications are there. Okay, so they say that Tulasi is toxic, right? Ashwagandha is toxic, Gokshura is toxic, right? Your Guruji is toxic. What is the conspiracy behind that specific, right? Behind the curtain, okay, so what exactly is happening? Why it is so? That's a different deal. But the thing is, what is your role? ठीक है, मैं क्यों बता दूँ यहाँ पे? What you can do? Fine. So whatever it may be, okay, so you are doing, whatever it may be the research, okay, so that research may not contribute, okay, so these herbs, but you have to come out with the publications, okay, so this is what Madam was mentioning in her earlier speech. Until and unless if at all you are not publishing, those evidences will vanish. आपको तो सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाएगा, यूनिवर्सिटी आपको सर्टिफिकेट दे देगा, so you will enjoy with that certificate. कहीं ना कहीं आप लेक्चरशिप ले लेंगे, but what happens to those 3 valuable years? अब इतना सारा मेहनत करने के बाद if at all it is not published, that will be perished. Fine. So publication is okay. So one important thing. Okay. So if at all you are not publishing, okay. So this thing happens. Okay. So they say that the conclusion of that specific article, you can see that what they are concluding: do not promote Ayush systems of medicines. Right? Do not promote okay. So Ayush systems of medicines. It's a direct blow on my face. A direct blow on the okay. So face of the Ministry of Ayush. Is it so? So if at all you don't want to see that flow, you suppose you should come out okay, so with those right standard research protocols, whatever okay, so Mandeep Madam was mentioned, and then once if at all it is conducted, it has to be published somewhere at least. People should know that yes, okay, so you are not the Shadava, okay, so it will work. Your Chitrakadipati, it will work. Fine? Okay, so that is what okay, so we need it. There are many such kind of things, okay, so I don't want to stand on that specific documentation, but okay, so these are the Guruji, okay, so this is what I was mentioning, the contribution of Bhavna Prasharji. Right? And similarly for Ashwagandha also, okay, so there are documents, okay, so you can download them and you can read it, right, the quantum of right information that is available on that specific platforms. Okay, so there are many such kind of publication. Of course, on that counter, okay, so to counter that, okay, so we have many publications which says that yes, okay, so these formulations are safe. Okay, and okay, so these publications which I am going to focus upon, okay, so I am focusing on these slides. They are not done by IDRA Jamnagar. They are not done by All India Institute of Ayurveda. They are not done by any Ayush professional universities or institutes. They have been done by okay, so some of the premier conventional institutes. When you can see that okay, so this is done by West Bengal University of Animal Sciences. It is published in IJB, which has some impact factor, and they say something about okay, so Makarabhaja, how safe it is. Fine. I won't explain okay, so these things you can go back and you can read them. Fine. All these are in open domain. Okay, so all those articles you can download them and you can read it. Of course, I try to put okay, so these conclusions over here. But okay, right. Again, Makarabhaja, it has been done by AIMS, New Delhi, and it is published in IJMR. Okay, so which is the journal of ICMR's fine institute. And this is again okay, so it is done by AIMS. This is again AIMS. Okay, so it is published in Journal of Ethnopharmacology. And they are speaking something about the safety nature of fine that specific formulation which is made up of is it mentioned over here? Aragyavarjini, what is the composition of Aragyavarjini? Rasa Gandhaka Loha Vishul Bhava Samavishkam, right? Rasa Gandhaka Loha. Tell me something. Rasa Gandhaka Loha Shulva, Tamra. Okay, so poly, okay, so metallic component it is, right? So if it contains arsenic, if it contains Tamra, if it contains processed mercury, if it contains okay, so all those fine metallic components, okay, so then also they say that mere presence of a metallic compound has nothing to do with the toxicity. Mercury रहने से डरने वाली बात नहीं है. Okay, so this is what okay, so they are saying. Who is saying that? Rajendra Kumar and right, so people from All India Institute of Medical Sciences Pharmacology Laboratory, Y.K. Gupta, the leading pharmacologist of the country. Fine, okay, so he was saying Rasa Sindhura, okay, so this is published in class 1. Okay, so this is on behalf of okay, Department of Molecular Biology, Banaras Hindu University. So class 1, okay, so it says that yes, Rasa Sindhura is also safe and it's not toxic in that given, okay, so entity. So all these publications, they say that yes, though it contains mercury, though it contains metallic fractions, they are not, you need not to fear. डरने वाली बात नहीं है कि it contains arsenic, it contains mercury, it contains lead. Until and unless if at all it is not manufactured properly, then okay, so we have to think. If it is manufactured by following all those standard operative procedures, you need not to think. Fine. So many such kind of publications, okay, so they are there, okay, so in the domain. So of course, okay, so when it comes to okay, so such kind of publications, I must take the name of that IIT Mumbai, Dr. J.H. Ballare. Right, huge amount of okay, so researches okay, so gets done okay, so not only on the zebrafish models and the animal experimentations, and even also I must take the name of Arunachalam. Arunachalam was a retired scientist from the National Compositional Characterization of Materials, one of the eminent other premier institute of Baba Atomic Research Center. Chennai professional, okay, so tremendous work, okay, so on Rasa Manikya and Himbuliya Manikya Rasa, okay, so these are the pet formulations of Arunachalam. Fine, okay, so he has, okay, so tremendously he has worked. So there are many such kind of publications, okay, so which have spoken something about the safety nature of traditional metallic formulations. So fine, you can see, okay, so you can download, okay, so these documents and you can see that. Okay, so what exactly our premier research institute is doing, okay, CCRS, okay, so they have tried to do retrospectively, they have tried to analyze, okay, so the prescriptions of, okay, prescription audit, okay, so that what we can say. So that has been done by, okay, so this CCRS when Professor Himanji was the Director General, okay, so at Delhi. So they have audited, okay, so all those prescriptions which have been prescribed during the period of 2020-17, 5 साल का जो prescriptions है, they have audited it retrospectively, okay, so follow भी किया, patient से उन्होंने बात किया. They try to get the information related to the toxic nature of, okay, so these metallic formulations which have been prescribed to those patients. How many patients? You can see that it is huge amount, 1,09,000 patients, 1,09,000 prescriptions. Okay, so they have audited it and they say that no adversities were noticed in that specific time frame of 5 years. That itself, okay, so speaks something about the safety nature of these metallic formulations. Or you may be having, okay, so this document which has been circulated by P.S. Prasad ji. आपके mails में definitely आया होगा. Okay, so you can see it. Okay, so voluminous. Okay, so information it is there, okay, in that one. And of course, okay, so I don't want to stand here, but improper right intake is one essential reason for which toxicity is linked. Fine. Okay, so they say that though it's a traditional formulation, okay, so don't feel that okay, so it's a OTC product, it's safe, it's free from right adversities. It has to be consumed with a valid prescription, right, and it has to be consumed properly. Okay, right? Inappropriately, if at all it is consumed, suppose, okay, so then there may be a possibility of adversity, otherwise, okay, so adversities are not possible. Okay, so this is what referring that global document, okay, so which I was referring earlier. So in that domain, okay, so it has came up, pharmacovigilance, it has came up, and it is nothing but capturing that data. If something happens, you suppose, if some adversity is there, you suppose, okay, so that data is supposed to be captured. Okay, so this is what the program which is existing at this moment, and with that, right, I feel okay that okay, so whatever the activity which has been done by this department of Kayachikitsa here in what it is CVM, sitting okay, so under one roof is very much essential. Why? Because okay, so it says that the global document says that yes, traditional systems can immensely contribute to the global healthcare. They says that yes, definitely okay, so these traditional systems they can contribute to the global healthcare, but the thing is there is no data to convince the global otherwise respective country administrators, policy makers. If at all you want to convince the policy maker, you need to have that data. You must have that data. The data is not there. That is the reason why okay, so people they are facing difficulties in implementing okay, so these traditional systems in various so global scenarios. So that is why okay, right, such kind of platforms, repeated right interactions with okay, so all those experts in those specific domains is very much essential to understand what is needed, how we need to move ahead. Okay, so this is very much essential, and with that okay, so I would like to right, of course okay, so very important area it is, right, so it is how we are writing when we are starting to write, you suppose, okay, so that spelling itself, right, how a spelling is supposed to be written. If at all you are writing Rasa Sindhura, okay, so one example we have to, okay, so this is published, okay, so in one journal, right? Rasa Sindhura ka spelling kya ho sakta hai? This is very much important. If at all you are doing Shamana, okay, so right, what should be the spelling of Shamana? If at all you are writing Shodhana, if at all you are writing Virechana, right? What is the spelling of Virechana? Where CHANA आना चाहिए या CANA आना चाहिए, right? So this is very much important. If at all that uniform, unique, okay, so that spelling is not there, you suppose, so then it becomes, okay, so very important, very difficult to grab that data. So there are many challenges, okay, so when it comes to, right, when it comes to traditional systems of medicines, I don't want to, okay, enter into that intricacy again. But the thing is, of course, okay, so we need to, even in 2026, we need to strengthen the, right, safety. We need to, right, strengthen the proper use of these traditional systems of medicines, and we need to strengthen the, right, effectiveness related evidences of, okay, so these traditional molecules. And then, okay, so when we have those information, when we have that information with us, you suppose, then we need to systematically document. And if at all we are documenting, then only the policymakers, okay, so can initiate recommendations on those specific documentations. So with that, okay, so I would like to conclude, and I must thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I'll be happy enough if from the audience, if at all the students community, if at all some questions are coming, I will be happy enough to address. Thank you so much for that.
For the room,